risk of rolling blackouts rising in California as the state's grid operator issues a stage 3 alert level due to a historic heat wave. Soaring temperatures are pushing California's electricity demands to all-time highs, and it's raising questions about the state's ability to sustain an influx of electric vehicles amid plans to phase out gas cars. Author Michael Schellenberger is the founder of the pro-nuclear power activist group Environmental Progress. He's also a critic of green extremism, and he ran for California governor in 2018, and he's here to join us now. Michael, I'm looking forward to this because anytime there's a mandate, you need to look at the numbers behind the plan here. And here's what California is planning between now and 2035. As of 2026, 35% of all new vehicles must be electric cars. That number rises to 68% in 2030. The phase-in is complete in 2035 rather, when 100% of new vehicles have to be electric. And a lot of people don't know this, but California is going to need an awful lot more electricity between now and then if it hopes to fulfill this mandate, or at least keep those cars running.
Well, yeah, that's right. I mean, the message that gets sent when you have, when you're on the verge of blackouts, when you have electricity shortages, is that you better not buy an electric car if you want to get to work or go to the grocery store. This is very serious. You know, people die during blackouts. You don't have enough air conditioning. You have potential catastrophic failures of essential parts of the electrical grid. So we're dealing with sort of incompetence piled on ideology here in California. You know, it's really like a developing economy here where you don't have reliable electricity. The costs of electricity in California went up 7 times more than they did in the rest of the United States over the last decade, and yet they still can't maintain our power grid. So it's a very dire situation, it's very serious, and I think the most disturbing part of it is that California has been held up as the model for the rest of the United States by President Biden.
Now, in terms of whether or not there will be enough electricity in California to power this new electric vehicle fleet, in recent days you tweeted out some estimates. You wrote, quote, if we need 5.5 gigawatts or 7.5 million electric vehicles, then we would need 21 gigawatts of new electricity to power 29 million more EVs. So how much is that in terms of power plants? In order for California to have sufficient electricity to power 30 million electrical vehicles, you write, it will need to build 20 new full-size nuclear power plants. They've only got one nuclear power plant right now, and that one's being extended. And you're saying that they need 20 more?
Well, yeah, that's right. I mean, my colleagues and I have been arguing for maintaining our last nuclear power plant rather than shutting it down, which had been the plan of the current governor. He reversed his position because of the risk of blackouts at any moment, but you would need 20 more nuclear reactors, the size of the reactors at our nuclear plants called Diablo Canyon, or 10 full-size nuclear power plants the size of it, in order to generate sufficient electricity to power 30 million cars and trucks. It's not like that energy to power electric vehicles comes out of the sky. It doesn't just come out of the outlet. It has to be produced by power plants. We normally get our energy for transportation, of course, from petroleum. Well, it's very energy dense. It's a major source of our energy in the country. So to suddenly switch to electricity, you're talking about a huge expansion. And to give you a sense of it, you know, we already shut down one of our nuclear plants in Southern California, San Onofre. They wanted to shut down Diablo Canyon. They say they're still going to close it in 2030, which is bonkers, at a time when not only are we facing serious blackouts, but we're also intending to add millions of new electric cars to the grid.
Yeah, it was supposed to be shut down in 2025. It looks like they're extending that now to 2030, but it takes on average a decade to build a new nuclear power plant. And I don't know how they're going to build 10 of them or 20 nuclear reactors between now and 2035. Let's go to call for number 6 here. Let's jump to that because I want to point out right now for people at home who think that California is running on that famous sunshine. It's not. Power generation here, electrical generation, 37.9% comes from natural gas, 3% from coal, 9.3% from that one nuclear plant. Hydroelectric is 9.2, solar 14.2, wind 11.4. But California, compared to other states, does have a lot of renewable energy. But you also contend that you can't meet the demands of the electric vehicle mandate with solar and wind.
Well, that's right. I mean, just look at what's happened. So between 2019 and 2021, the percentage of electricity that we get from zero carbon sources actually declined from 51% to 49%. The reason for that is because we haven't had as much rain, and so our hydroelectric dams have not been producing as much electricity. So we often will refer to solar and wind as weather-dependent renewables, but it actually turns out that hydroelectric dams are also weather-dependent. This is why you have to have nuclear power if you want to deal with climate change or simply reduce air pollution. It is the only scalable and reliable weather-independent source of energy, and yet our establishment here in California, from the governor on down, has an allergy to nuclear power based on some really bad ideas from the 1960s, a lot of scary TV movies. But really, nuclear has turned out to be one of our most important sources of energy. It's really going to end up saving Europe this winter when it goes into energy crisis. So we need a lot more nuclear power. The right way to do it, by the way, is you just add more reactors to the plant we have. Diablo Canyon has 2 reactors operating. It could have 6. That's the right solution forward, but instead we're going down this path of just more solar.
Well, we'll see what California can